Secrets, lies, truth, confessions. We often learn to hide parts of who we are, including the mistakes we've made along the way. Yet I found that keeping secrets, especially the dark, unhappy ones, can lead to depression, anxiety, and the tendency to be untrue to the self and others. One lie, even a small one, can lead to a web of lies that makes telling the truth, or even seeing the truth, seemingly impossible. Yet when we face our imperfections, including any untruths we've told, we set ourselves free, truly and deeply free. Today, we'll focus on this listener's real-life question. I'm recently engaged to my soulmate. I've never been happier in my life. We're already planning the wedding of our dreams, but I have a few dark secrets I've not shared with my partner. I'm afraid to come clean because it could end our relationship, and that would kill me. Do you think it's bad to keep secrets? And with that question as the focus of today's episode, I'm Dr. Carla and Mirror Talk, and this is Imperfect Love.
Welcome to Imperfect Love with Dr. Carla Marie Manley, psychologist, author, and relationship expert. I'm here to help unravel mysteries and misconceptions about love, relationships, and mental health issues, plus everything in between. Love is complicated, people are not perfect, and relationships surely can be tough. Together, we'll navigate this messy, imperfect space of real life.
Today, I'm joined by a very special guest, Tobi Ojekunle, who will be sharing his expertise on soul work, self-development, and well-being. Welcome to the podcast, Tobi. It is such a delight to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me to be on your podcast today, Carla. Thank you. Last time we spoke, you were on my podcast, and it was a wonderful experience, a wonderful episode. So I feel so much blessed right now to be speaking with you again.
Well, it's wonderful to share time with you. And your podcast, Mirror Talk, it's been going at least 4 years, which is quite a long time in the podcast world. And you're doing a wealth of good in bringing mental health issues to light, talking about mental health issues with various subject matter experts, and really getting the message out there that we are all imperfect, that we are all in this journey of love and life together. And I so appreciate that about you. So before we launch into the podcast, will you tell our listeners just a little bit about what makes you, you?
What makes me me? I would say the element of God in me makes me who I am. And to me, that's love, that's seeking for growth, seeking for connection in this world. That makes me who I am. And that makes me to do everything else that I do. Being a software engineer, being a podcaster, an author, everything I do comes from that source of love, basically, trying to make the world a better place. That's who I am, I would say.
Well, we are kindred spirits because we both want to make the world a better place, and I love that you're doing it. Now,
Okay.
just for a moment, your book is actually called Confessions. Could you tell
Yes.
us a little bit about the book and all of the stories in it and what they might have in common?
Yes, gladly, I would like to tell you about it. So confessions, it comes from a place of struggle from myself, from friends, from people, loved ones, basically talking about, struggle with different habits, different addictions, different feelings, relationships. And the essence of writing the book was just to make everyone feel that they are not alone in their struggle, in their journey, in everything they are doing. And it's just like putting the words out there in metaphors, in figurative terms, and giving you the opportunity to be able to reflect, just like the podcast is called, like giving you a mirror so that you can reflect on other people's journey, other people's life. And maybe you could find something that connects with you. You could find some clues, some suggestions, some tips that could help you on your own personal journey.
And I love the title that you chose, Confessions, because I think for so many people, we tend to feel as though we are different, that we're broken, that there's something wrong with us that we need to keep secret, that we need to keep hidden, when we are all so much more alike than we are different, and we do struggle in life. And then once, let's take it to the topic for today, right? The topic of lies, of not confessing, of wondering if we should confess.
Mm.
And let's look at the listener's question today. And this individual, I don't know what gender they are, and it doesn't really matter. But what does matter is this individual is trying to come to terms, it seems. I don't know the nature of the lies, but they sound like they're pretty big ones in
Mm.
order for them to keep them from the soulmate, from the partner. So, what have you found in your mental health journey and your advocacy for mental health? What happens when we lie first to the self and then to others?
Yes, to the self, we prevent ourselves or we deny ourselves of this genuinity, of this freedom, of of just being who we are. That's one thing that comes with this lie. Like when once we are not fully honest with our partners, or even no, not even with our partners or anybody, with ourselves. When we're not
Mm.
fully honest with ourselves, we steal that freedom from ourselves, the freedom to be who we truly are and what we are at that moment. We still the freedom of moving to the stage of of being without doubt, without any anxiety, without any kind of anxiousness. Basically, we steal ourselves of that. We steal that opportunity from ourselves.
I love that you brought up the piece of anxiety, because I know I learned very early in life, if I said something that wasn't honest, it made me feel anxious.
Yeah.
And I learned very early that that feeling wasn't worth it.
Mhm.
That anxiety inside, when it, and I can't imagine keeping a big secret, because the anxiety would be so big and be so stressful. And so what would you say, what have you found that can help someone who's holding on to a lie, an untruth, a negative secret? I'm a big believer in positive secrets, like keeping a birthday present until the day of the birthday, or, a
Yeah.
surprise birthday party. Those are wonderful secrets. But too many times, and I think it's out of a place of feeling as if we'll be rejected,
Mm.
that we won't be loved, that we keep secrets from people. And
Mm.
then we try to carry on the lie, and that lie creates more and more lies in order
Yeah.
to cover up the first lie.
Mm.
So, what do you think about that, those pieces?
Yeah. When I think about that, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is if I were the one, I put myself in that person's shoes and I'll say, how important is my peace of mind to me in that situation? If I don't tell these secrets, will I be at peace with myself? Will I be at peace with the situation, with the setup? I'll have to ask that question for myself. And whatever will steal my peace, my joy, I would try to avoid it. So if it has to do with, revealing the secrets, confessing, then I would do that because the peace of mind, the joy of the relationship of myself is very, very important. And the second thing is, I would say, yeah, just let's go of it. And if you are judged, then maybe that situation, that partnership is not for you. As sad as it might sound, like it could be very difficult, I would say, but just confess it. And if you are judged, just accept it the way it is because we are all humans. And from your own part and from your own part of the whole play, you have done your best to be 100% who you are. You've revealed everything about yourself, and how the other person accepts it is up to the person, or how other people, you know, take it is up to them. If they love you, they will stay with you, and then you will walk through that situation. I don't know what the secret is. I hope it's not you killed somebody or something like that. But there are some things there are some secrets that you might reveal, and then um yeah, it could be the end of the relationship. Then one takes that as a lesson and try to move on from that, sadly. But if I were the one, I'll wait and I'll confess my secret, and then I hope not to be judged. That's what I'll say.
And I really appreciate that. And let's take this in two possible directions, since we don't have a lot of detail on it. Let's
Mm.
first imagine that this person has a criminal record. Maybe they
Mm.
did kill someone, maybe involuntary manslaughter, maybe they were drunk driving and killed someone that they didn't mean to kill, but they did kill someone. And so maybe this is the secret that they are carrying. Let's imagine that. And imagine how I'm kind of leaning into this as if I were working with a client.
Yeah.
And what I would say is, well, how does that feel to carry that deep secret inside yourself? You might not want to tell the cashier at the grocery store about that, but when it's somebody that you're planning on sharing a life with, if I agree with you, if they are the right partner and you share that deep, dark secret with them, and they lean into you with love and acceptance and say, "Oh my God, what a terrible secret to hold on to by yourself. Let me love you and support you through healing."
Mm.
Then that would be a partner that's there for the long haul. And they may even say, let's make sure you don't drink and drive anymore. Let's work on this together. Let's work on healing together.
Mm.
Yet a partner who's not so good might say, "Oh, well, you're not as perfect as I thought you are, and I can't have a partner who has a criminal record. It'll interfere with my career and my trajectory in life."
Yeah.
And so then that partner, we would maybe say, well, it's probably good that I know that now, that if I make a mistake of significance, that you might not want me in your life.
Mm.
So I agree with you. It's a lovely way to figure out if somebody is willing to go through the hard stuff with you as well as the lovely stuff.
Yeah, because I believe, I mean, if you're going to end up getting married to that person, the person should know, or I mean, and you are willing to reveal yourself, the 100% version of yourself, like your past, your present, and you want to share the future with the person. If the person cannot, accept your past the way you've exposed it to the person, then it'll be very difficult, to share the future with such a person. So, I know it could sound very easy, but it's very difficult. Like if someone reveals a secret to me, like you said, from the example we're going to talk about like a criminal record. First thought might be, Toby, I have a career. You have you have great ambitions. You have great things you want to do. With this not, tarnish your image in one way or the other. But then I will have to like take my time, and that's what a lot of people might have to do. I have to take my time to remember why I'm in love with this person, and then know that and go to a place of, okay, we are not perfect beings. I also have probably skeletons in my cupboard that I have shared or not shared, but regardless of that, we all have something that we've done in our past. Some could be killing, some could be stealing meat from the pot. The difference, but we have something that we've done in the past. Now I'll go to that, that place of acceptance that we all have a past that we've let gone or we've let gone of or something like that. And then I'll try to want to hold that person's hand and see, okay, is it that you need therapy? What can we do to, move on from this? Yeah. So it might take time for you to process it. Yeah. But
I love that you said that piece about processing because sometimes when a partner, a child, a parent, a friend reveals something to us that is news, big news, it can be a shock to the system. And I also found it interesting that you said, well, maybe this person has, a health diagnosis, something, maybe they have cancer and they haven't revealed that, or
mm,
something that they feel. I often believe, so whatever that secret is, if we lean into it as something that's different from a criminal record, but maybe they cheated on a partner, maybe they have some sort of physical illness, maybe they have a mental health diagnosis that they're afraid to share.
mm,
And I love how you said sometimes it takes time just to process it, because when we share that secret, sometimes we immediately want to see acceptance in the other person's eyes. And it might be somebody sharing with us, "Hey, I have HIV," or you know, I cheated on you when we were first, in a relationship that was only a year old or whatever it was, but I would never
mm,
do that again. I believe that sometimes when we share our secrets with a trustworthy partner, it can take us to a place where we feel safe and vulnerable. Sometimes for the very first time in our lives, to see love reflected back, as you talk about the mirror and mirror talk, right? See love and acceptance that we don't expect. And if that partner, if that truly is the soulmate that you're getting married to, if it's something that you're not doing any longer, it's one thing to be confessing something that you're still doing, right? Oh,
Mhm.
well, I'm still sleeping around on you. Well, that might not go over very well.
No.
But if it's something where you're saying this is something in my past and I've done the work to move forward, I am continuing that work. Could be something like I'm an addict, but I'm in recovery and I haven't used, alcohol or meth, whatever it is, for 5 years, but I was afraid to tell you for fear that you would reject me. Isn't it beautiful, have you found, that that mirror, seeing, the mirror neurons, seeing somebody look at you with such divine love and acceptance that you may never, like I said, may never have seen. It's so healing in and of itself. And our listener who wrote in, perhaps they've, like I was saying, maybe they've never seen that from a sibling or a mother or a father. And maybe if they break through this fear, they will get that unconditional love and acceptance staring right back at them. What do you
Yes.
think?
I think that's very valid. Like, I love what you said about breaking through that fear. That's what we have to break through, first of all. Like, being able to be vulnerable with that loved person, that trusted person, emphasis on trusted person. Being able to, be vulnerable with that person, break through that fear to speak with the person. And you don't know what you might, get at the other end of that wall when you break through that wall. You might get that acceptance, like we said, and it could be very quick, even quicker than you expect it to be. It could be like you talking to your partner or your loved one about, a secret, and the person will like, oh, yeah, I also did the same thing in the past. And oh my God, thank you for confessing this to me right now, because I think we can, heal together and bounce off our ideas, or what we did in the past, and maybe, talk about how to move on from this. Also, yeah, like, if you talk about, for example, if like you made mention of maybe someone cheated on someone in the past, and you tell your girlfriend or your boyfriend about this, and the girlfriend's like, oh, in my past relationship that happened to me also, and I did this and did this to work through it. And, it helps both parties to even open up to each other at some point, to even be more vulnerable with each other. That's a beautiful part that could happen, something that could happen from confessing.
Absolutely. You're making me giggle. I'm thinking of a conversation I was having with one of my best girlfriends a couple weeks ago, and she shared something with me. She said, I wouldn't tell anybody this but you. And she said, I can't believe I even think this. And I giggled and I said, oh my goodness, I think exactly the same thing sometimes. And it's okay. It's just a thought. And then we move
Mm,
through it. We're not acting on it, but it's a thought. And
yeah.
so just by sharing those things that we think are completely unique to us. Nobody would ever have that thought or that feeling or think about that. Well, of course, I see it with my clients all the times. All of the time, they'll tell me something and thinking they're the only person on the planet who has ever done something like whatever it is, or thought something, or said something. And I'm looking back at them with such love and empathy and acceptance, because it's all part of being human. It's not new. It may feel new and scary and terrible to them, but it's generally people who I think grew up without true love and acceptance, where they came to believe that they should be ashamed of themselves and their mistakes, when in truth, our mistakes, once we learn from them, they're some of the best of who we are.
They are the things that make us who we are, basically. Our mistakes, our past, things we've learned from, make us better beings, basically. And if you could love me for what I am today, and I'm able to break that wall to reveal my secrets to you, and I hope that you are going to, accept me for who I was also in the past, because that's what made me who I am today. One thing I'd just like to add to that is, basically, it's a big challenge. I would like to just repeat that again. It's a very big challenge for the listener out there, to open up to that fellow. We don't know what secrets the person is holding on to. But I would say that it's very important for you to also note the person that you want to reveal the secrets to. Like, have you studied he or she before in the past? Does the person the person have empathy, for example? Is the person a good listener? Does the person understand or have an understanding spirit? Because it's one thing to have it's one thing to have the urge to reveal a secret to your loved one or to your partner, and then that thing to know the partner for who he or she is. Is that person going to, is that person matured enough to hear what you're about to say? And do you have to get the right time, the right place, the right atmosphere to talk about it? Because all of these things have to be put into place to, the right time, the right place, the right yeah, I don't know, emotions have to be, or feelings have to be placed, and also how mature is that person? Because no matter how big or small the secret might be, if the person is not mature enough to accept or to take that secret in, it could go south.
Thank you for bringing up all of those points. And before I dive into them, I just want to highlight, paraphrase something you said that's just exquisite, where you said, I want the other person to love me for who I am and who I was, because who I was allowed me to be the person I am now. And that's so poignant and so true that if somebody really loves you, I mean, truly loves you inside and out, they will be able to see that who you are today is an amalgamation of all of those versions of you from the day you were born. And what matters is not that you made mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's what have you done with those mistakes? And are you evolving, always evolving to be a better version of yourself? And Toby, that is the underpinning of my last book, my fourth book, The Joy of Imperfect Love, that we are all imperfect. It's what we do with our imperfections that matters. So I really love that you highlighted that piece, that it's who I am today. And next to me is a picture that says, a Buddhist quote that says, if you see yourself in others, then whom can you harm?
Mm.
Buddha, right? That if we are able to look and see that we've all made mistakes, we've all told a lie sometime or another, even if it's when we were 5 or 6 years old, we've all told a lie here or there. And it's about what do we do with those lies. And I want to also talk about the maturity that you brought up and the time and the place, the setting that you brought up. And I also want to talk about the piece that you mentioned where we want to be looking at when we're telling this secret, that it's someone, and you emphasized someone we can trust. And
Yes.
I'd like to start there because some people, and it's, we often see this what's called with what, as you know, is called trauma dumping, where people want to share something that's traumatic. They want to share a secret and they share it with everyone. And they think that's being vulnerable, and and they tell everybody about, the secret and that secret. And it's no longer a secret once that happens, but then they're not necessarily sharing it with people who have earned their trust. And I think that can make a big difference in the outcome. What do you think of that?
I think that's very valid. Like, not everyone should have access to our secrets. Like, yeah, there should be like a means of you filtering the people that you share the deepest of things with. Like, you should share with people that will help you process it, like
Mm.
help you move on from it, that will help you maybe even work on it properly. Like, I believe, I'm even also, I think it's also it has to do with our upbringings also. There's people that they're so open, and if let's use the example of if slaughtering somebody. If they slaughter someone yesterday, they'll go on and tell everybody, "Oh, yesterday I did this, I did this, I did this," and tell everybody about it. And it's just because of how they are brought up. But regardless of that, I believe we are not supposed to share our secret with everyone because we don't know who is listening at the moment. Anyone could use it against us, or, or in some ways to hurt us or to harm us. So it's better for us to safeguard every vital information about ourselves, especially our secrets, and only share them with people that could help us move on or proceed.
Yes, people who can help us move on, who have earned our trust. And I often tell people it's like you have a key to your house. Do you give the key to your house to everyone, or do you give it to people who have earned the right to that key to your home? And it's the same with the home for our psyches. We want to have people earn that right to the key to our hearts, our souls, the psyche. And it sounds as in with our listener's question that this partner, they're soulmates. And so I hope that the trust is there that will allow our listener to do the next step, which is what you were talking about, finding the safe place, the timing, making sure that we don't start sharing this secret or secrets at a dinner party, or when the person comes home from a long day of work, or
Mm.
when they're feeling really anxious and stressed about a presentation. We want to, so please guide us into setting the stage for sharing a big secret.
Oh, I mean, it's very difficult and it's could be very individual. So, but we could, like, for example, say, like you made mention of some parts of some things not to do already. Like if the partner is anxious or stressed or maybe angry at something else, you should not put in your secret at the moment. Yeah, I think it should be a moment where you are where you're spending quality time together. That's what is on my mind right now. Like it should be a moment where you are, talking about deep things, maybe without distractions. Maybe one of the times when you go out together, maybe taking a walk, for example, and you are
Mm.
talking about, life. You're talking about your future together. You are being open with each other, and it should be a moment where you also like use with your intuition, know that yeah, this person is tuned in to what I'm saying at this moment. This person is connected to me. Person is not distracted or maybe worried or carried away with some other thoughts, or feelings or something else. Should be the moment when you are both feeling one. You are feeling like you're feeling aligned and together. That should be a moment where you should, with all diligence and all smartness, try to bring up the topic and then speak about it.
I'm such a fan of that approach, and I'm thinking of when I'm working with individuals who have this kind of question, right? In my clinical practice, I say sometimes it's good to ask permission. And
Mm,
using your idea of a walk, I'm a big fan of walk and talks, right? Or going somewhere quiet where there aren't distractions, no phones, no anything, and saying something like, honey, I have something to share with you. Is this a good time? I'm feeling really anxious about it. Do I have your permission, your attention, because I really want to share it with you? So
mm,
not only are you getting their permission, not only are you checking in with them if they're in a good place for it, but you're also leading with, I feel anxious. So that helps almost dissipate the energy a little bit by letting the person know, your loved one know, this is really weighing on me heavily. And is this okay for me to bring it? And in a way, it then becomes an offering to the other people or other person that they can choose to accept then and there, or say, now's not a good time for me. Let me make a sandwich first, or let me go for a walk first to get myself in the right place. And then when I come back, I'm all yours. What do you think of setting the stage in that way?
yeah, I think it's very, very vital, very important. Like it could be like, I'll just add to what you said. For example, saying this has been on my mind, and I know if I tell you, you might get angry at me, you might not like it, but I believe because because I love you so much and because you are the most important thing in my life, I believe you should know about this. I yeah, I'm ready to tell you this, but let me know, like you said, seeking permission is very important. Let me know if you if I should if I'm allowed to tell you this. I would really like to
Oh,
share this secret with you because it's really troubling me, and I won't want to share it with any other person in this world apart from you.
and I love how you put that in such an honest way and concern. You got to my next thing already, so thank you for that. Caring about the impact it has on the other person,
Mm,
where that person is saying, I love you so much, I want you to know. And I think that that is one of the biggest reasons to share a secret with someone you're about to marry or have married, or if it's going to impact their lives, their way of. So sometimes, and I really honor that you brought that up, because sometimes, and I found this routinely in my work with individuals and couples and groups, that sometimes people withhold or have told lies and lies and lies and lies, and they don't think of the singular or cumulative effect. They just think, oh, they're just stories I've told. But yet, in a long term relationship, all those little lies, which sometimes people tell during the dating process or the getting to know you process, and then they wake up one day and they've married the person or are about to marry the person, as in this case, and they realize at some point in time that their understanding of that person, their knowledge of that person is built on some few, a few fundamental lies or a collection of small lies. And I believe that all of those lies matter, whether it's about somebody's, former relationships or bad habits they have or addictions or whatever it is. We want to come clean with our partner so that they can make a decision. We'll hope it's a decision that they still love us and accept us, but we want them to be able to make a decision to be with us or not
mm,
based on the truth of who we are.
yeah.
Because to wake up, a year or 5 years down the line and find out that you're married to someone or with someone who has fed you, a whole ball of lies
Mm,
is a very toxic and traumatic
yeah.
discovery.
Yeah, I believe that's very true. That I mean, that's one thing that we have to always put at the back of our mind. I know one thing else that some people might say is that, yeah, if I reveal the secret to this person, it might hurt this person beyond what I would want, because I love this person so much. And if I tell this person this and that, the person might, you know, lose faith in love, in humanity, and do some irrational things and could hurt his or herself. And because of that, I want to hold back on this secret, just to protect the other person. Yeah, that's what's coming to my mind right now. And I was like, maybe I should ask you, Carla, because sometimes we, even in my journey of speaking with people, they hold back on some things because that's never come up in their discussion in the relationship, and also they hold back because they believe they are holding back to protect the other person.
I'm with you on that. And I'm going to become a mirror for that person who's thinking that.
Yeah.
We cannot generally, nor do we want to, protect someone, especially if they're 18 or older, right, from a truth that will allow them to make a healthy decision.
Mm,
And so sometimes we are afraid of harming someone. Yet when we look in the mirror and dig deep, sometimes it's actually our fear of being rejected, our fear of not being loved,
mm,
our fear of being cast aside. That
mm,
is really, we go, I'm worried about this person. But when we bring it back and look in that mirror, often we come to the truth that withholding a truth is actually going to do that person harm.
mm,
And I've seen it in so many situations where, partners, whether it's business partners, love partners, they look and they say, the biggest hurt you caused me was not telling me the truth. That part is what makes it harder to forgive you. Had you told me the truth, I
mm,
could have made decisions. I could have known who you are, carried the load with you, but you robbed me by lying to me. of
Mm.
the right to make a healthy decision. And
Yeah.
we can't go back in time to tell that truth. So really, if it ever comes to someone's mind, like it's coming to our listeners' mind, tell the truth now so that your partner's not looking at you 5 years later and saying, what I love you and I honor and appreciate the mistakes you made and I can accept them. But what I can't accept is that you lied to me. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you just placed the mirror in front of me too, and it made me honestly remember a relationship I was in over a year ago. If I'm permitted to share, I would love to share a
Oh,
little bit.
please share. Please
Yeah,
do, Toby.
I might not go into details of this, but I was, I was cancelled to leave the relationship, and I also left the relationship because there were a lot of red flags on.
Mm,
And while I was in this relationship, according to my culture and tradition, when I was in this relationship, I wanted to like inform some elders basically, like maybe for example, if you were my mom, for example, I would have loved to inform you, or I'm in a relationship with this lady and we're going out, we've been seeing each other for like 3 months, and at the course of this relationship, like the lady told me, oh, don't tell Carla yet about this relationship because yeah, it's not a time. When it's time, you will let her know about it. And down the line, you got to know about it, and you told me, "Oh, the lady you're going out with is not the best person for you because she has done this and done this and done that." And I did not know about that in the past. And for all of these kind of reasons, I had to leave. And then afterwards, I got to find out even more reasons why um, I was told to not to tell you yet about the relationship, and that really hurts me. Even till now, I still feel hurt, even though we dissolved the relationship. And when you said that right now, I just remembered that scene and that feeling that I still, even a year after breaking up, still deal with from time to time. That I wish she told me that she, had these issues with. I'll use you as an example. She had this issue with Carla in the past. Then I would have understood why she didn't want me to tell you about it in the past. I would have understood, you know, I would have even known what to do to resolve, to make some reconciliation happen, and maybe we might still be together because I truly loved this person. And
mm,
yeah. So when you talk about that right now, I was like, yeah, it actually makes sense to just be truthful and open up about this. Not that I don't have anything I'm holding back on, but one main reason that caused this was because don't tell this person this and don't tell this person that, and everybody was just basically in one way or the other against the relationship. And at the end of the day, things started to come to light about what has happened in the past that I did not know about, and that's really hurtful to today.
absolutely. And thank you for sharing that, Toby, because that's precisely it. Had it been transparent and open and confessed, right?
Mm,
Had it been open, you might still be together today. But it was the pattern of the secrets, the lies that was most hurtful, if I got that right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I think so that takes us to another piece that I wanted to cover with you was the maturity piece that you focused on. And I like that because often we want to share our secret with someone. But we must be mature enough to do that. And I'm not talking chronological maturity because there are a lot of people who are, in their 50s, 60s, 70s and beyond who aren't, you know, emotionally mature, but we want ourselves to be emotionally mature and the person on the other side to be emotionally mature enough to handle this sacred material because
Mm,
it is sacred to handle the sacred material with us. And I love that you brought that up. And so I wanted to come back to it and make sure I think that that's a very important part of we need to be looking at someone who's not going to turn and use that secret against us to say, oh, you're a bad person, or oh, you're stupid, or oh, you're a liar, or oh, you should go, be with someone else because you're a cheater, whatever it is. And we
mm,
don't want to. That if somebody did that, that would be a really good sign that we don't want to be with them. Because if they're going to
exactly.
throw a secret back at us, which would take us to our next topic, shame.
Mm.
And I notice that shame, shame is often underneath a lot of addictions and a lot of mental health issues. What do you think about the connection between secrets and shame?
Oh, I mean, they are like siblings, basically, like secret and
Mm.
shames. Um, yeah, shame could come in terms of when we are holding back the secret, when we're holding on to the secret ourselves. We could be self-shaming ourselves, like, look at me, I don't deserve this because I did this in the past. Nobody knows about this, but yeah, I know that I don't deserve this good thing because I've been bad in the past. For example, I don't deserve to be loved. I don't deserve to have these good feelings, or I don't deserve to be happy because I made someone unhappy in the past. That's shame in its own. And that way shame could come is, if we unfortunately and did not share this secret with someone that is mature enough and trusted enough to accept it, the person could shame us too, like you said already. Like person could make us feel bad about ourselves, make us feel even much more horrible about ourselves. So shame could come, shame and keeping secrets are they're tightly connected. It will come from we suppressing the secrets deep down into ourselves, and to also come from not sharing with the right person.
I 100% agree with you because I agree that, shame, people often use shame and embarrassment as though they're the same thing.
Mm,
And embarrassment is that sense, oh, I did something in public, I slipped down the stairs or was walking and my dress flew up or whatever it is. I'm embarrassed of that. And shame is much bigger. It's that I am bad. I am not worthy, and often starts in early childhood, and where parents shame children, shame them for making a mistake, shame them for being imperfect, which everybody is, shame
mm,
them for not getting it quote unquote right, shame them for telling a lie. When kiddos lie as a part of learning how to tell the truth and learning natural consequences. And so I think that sometimes I don't know about the person who wrote in, but perhaps they learned that it was not okay to make a mistake. And so you had to cover it up. You
mm,
had to lie. And this is a part in a healthy adult relationship where you learn the antidote to lying is to learn to tell the truth.
mm,
And even say something as simple as, I was late, not saying I was late because I don't know, stopped at the store to get a gallon of milk. It's okay to say I was late because, and whatever the truth is. And sometimes, I worked too late, or I got talking to a group of girlfriends or a group of buddies. We want to be able to learn to tell the truth on little things.
mm.
Otherwise, it's what people call white lies. Right. And I'm not a believer in white lies because white lies, or in the benefit of white lies, because white lies can quickly turn into really a pattern of telling bigger and bigger and bigger lies. What do you think about white lies?
Oh, I believe we should run away from white lies because it's white lies. When we get used to telling white lies, then we start telling the big real lies, and then yeah, but we go down that rabbit hole. So I believe as much as possible, we should always be honest. Try to be 100% honest, 100% true. It's very difficult in this day and age, but just do it. Yeah.
Absolutely, because we learn even through social media that it's airbrushing things, putting up a false front. And I'm not saying airbrushing is a lie, but I mean, we get very used to not being our authentic selves.
Yeah.
People think that it's important to put out this perfect version. And then before too long, especially for people who are in a pattern of little white lies, and then they become bigger lies and bigger lies till they can't even keep track of what history it was because they're constantly revising the story or telling a news story. And when I've run into people like that, it's very interesting because their relationship with the truth doesn't become very, it becomes very fragmented, where often it can even go toward the pathological, where they don't know the difference between truth and lies anymore. And I think that's why I really agree with you. It's very important for us, especially in today's world, where telling lies is more common than we might hope, and we don't have close-knit society groups in our hometowns anymore, where you used to get found out right away if you told a lie or you skipped school, or there are other ways social media can help with accountability. But I do agree that we do want to have a very good relationship with the truth.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important for us to have a very good relationship with the truth. I know some people say it's better, you are smarter when you are able to, play your ways around and, paint things in a different color to just
Mhm.
get through. Yeah, but in the long run, the truth will stand and come out. And that's what matters.
Yes, and there's so much less anxiety and stress, and when you just are real and you say, I'm sorry I was late for this appointment, or I'm sorry I forgot that, or oops, I made this mistake. It's usually bigger to you than to the other person, especially if you apologize sincerely and say, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it differently next time, or I'm not that person. I've grown, and this is who you see now is the person I am. And I'm taking it back to the listener's topic, her, his or her question. So, what would one last piece of sage wisdom for our listener or listeners who are holding on to some dark secrets that they might want to share or not want to share? What might you say?
I would say align with the peaceful, joyful person that you want to be in future. And if that has to do with, you confessing that secret to that trusted person, to that loved one, just go ahead and do it and accept what comes. You might be accepted with love, you might be rejected, but just do it to become that next version of yourself that you are open to be in the future.
So beautifully put, Toby. So beautifully put. Actually, don't have anything to add to that because it's so perfect. So thank you. I'll just reiterate it. By telling, by this, if we just embrace our listener, the person who sent in the question, and embrace this individual and restate what you said, just tell the truth. Be your more evolved self, the person you want to be clean and as pure in the telling as you can. And when you radiate that honesty and that truth, that person across from you will mirror back to you something that will allow you, whatever it is, to be that next better version of yourself simply because you stood in your truth.
Yes, eyes on the
Wow.
goal. Eyes on the goal. Yes.
Yes. Well, thank you, Toby, so much for spending your time with us. I know you were in Germany, so I know, it's late for you, and I so appreciate you spending your time with us today. Where can our listeners find you and your book?
Oh, thank you so much. I mean, it's a blessing to be here once again. Thank you so much. I would stay up to midnight if I have to speak with you, Carla. Thank you so much for this. So, I mean, the podcast is available on all platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, but all information could be found on www.mirrortalkpodcast.com. The book Confessions is available on Amazon. Information is also on the website, but you could go on Amazon and search for Confessions. You could add my name, Tobi Ojekunle, to the search tab, and immediately you get to click on a book and order it and read it and love it, I believe.
Absolutely. And Toby, I will also have all of this information for our listeners in the show notes, so they'll be able to find you and find your book and the Mirror Talk podcast, which I absolutely love. You have so many wonderful episodes. So thank you, thank you. And thanks for being with us. It truly has been a blessing. And my thanks to our listeners for sharing the journey with us today.
Thank you so much for putting out the imperfect love to the world and making people more aware about this. It's really a great blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is Imperfect Love.
Thanks so much for sharing your time with me today. Remember, you have the power to transform your life and love fearlessly, if imperfectly, and it's my privilege to help you along the way. You can find more life-changing content, including my books and other podcast episodes, at drcarlamanley.com. Feel free to submit your own confidential questions through my website. I'll do my very best to include your issue on a future episode. If you found this podcast helpful, please subscribe and leave a review. Until we connect again, this is Dr. Carla Marie Manley wishing you oceans of blessings and love. Please note, this podcast is psychoeducational in nature and is not intended to replace formal mental health support. Please contact your healthcare provider or emergency hotline if you need psychiatric care. And as always, please take good care of your amazing, wonderful self.